Hey, welcome back everybody. Welcome to my channel, all you enlightened ones, all my enlightened family out there. Coach Angel here. And today we're going to talk about something that's really been on my heart. It's been on a lot of people's minds and things that people are dealing with. Some of my clients have been, kind of reaching out and asking for some support. So I thought I'd make a video and kind of just talk about something that really has a major impact on your health and your life and things that you're struggling with. So today we're going to talk about dealing with depression, anxiety, and stress. And with everything going on right now, things are pretty stressful. It can be pretty stressful, right? People working from home and whatnot. We're going to get into some of that stuff, but I wanted to tell you, that I understand there's a lot of things going on in the world right now. Everyone's dealing with a lot. There's a lot of pressure and things, so it can be challenging, and I understand. And a lot of people out there need help and they need support. So that's why we're here, and that's why I want to do this video. I want to give you some techniques that have helped me personally, and kind of what some of the things that I coach my clients with to help them deal with this depression, help them deal with anxiety, help them deal with stress. And everyone's in different levels. Some things work for others, other things don't work for everyone. But I think there's some core principles here that you can implement in your life that can help you deal with some of these things, right? Especially if you're barely starting to deal with some of this stuff, start implementing some of the things quickly. Don't let it get so bad that you really need help. You have to go seek psychiatric help or anything like that. So anyways, we're going to get to some of that stuff. One of the first things I'm going to talk about is depression, right? And look, depression is difficult, okay? It can be really debilitating. You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to socialize. You think, then those thoughts start to come in your head. Like, everyone hates me. Negative thoughts, just consistently just hounding you. And it really is, a battle of the mind. And being depressed, it starts to drain your energy. Like, you don't want to do anything. You don't want to do the things that are going to be healthy for you, right? The things that are going to help you get out of depression. And because that lack of energy, is like, you don't even want it. It's too much work. I don't want to deal with it. And it just gets worse, right? It snowballs into a bad state. So, when you're dealing with depression and you're trying to, break free of it, there's things that help. The things that help you are sometimes the hardest things to do. And so I want to encourage you, as you're starting to deal with certain stuff, just keep going and have the motivation to just proceed and break free from those things. I've dealt with depression throughout my life, mainly after I was kicked out of my home when I was 15. If you guys have, heard my podcast or the podcast I was on, that kind of talks about my story. And eventually I'm going to do some videos about it. But, there was just, I dealt with a lot of that, a lot of anger, a lot of pain, but I was really depressed, suicidal and whatnot. And even after some major heartbreaks, with my high school sweetheart and my first marriage, ended up in divorce. I dealt with a lot of depression, and it was terrible. It was just things that just happened, and it kind of helped. It didn't help. It changed my mind, my mental state dramatically. And it impacted my life for a long time in those different phases of my life. And so I struggled with depression for a very, very, very long time. And again, different bouts of it, and it seemed like I dealt with it, and then something worse happened, and then it just kind of compounded on itself, right? And then I dealt with it, and something else happened, and boom, it got even worse. So by the time I got divorced, I guess it would have been about 8 years or so now, I was a wreck. I was depressed. I was lonely, not having my kids all the time, be stuck in alone. There was days where I'd just sit in darkness. I wouldn't turn on the lights. Like, I'd be home all day, and the sun starts to go down, and I would just be sitting on the couch. I wouldn't be watching television, nothing, and then I wouldn't even get up, and I wouldn't even turn on the lights, and just be sitting there in darkness. And that was kind of how I was in my mind. I was just in darkness. So, but one thing that I learned about depression is that it robs you of hope. Like, that's probably the biggest thing, right? And let's get into some of this stuff right now. But some of these things, drains your energy, right? Isolation. You don't want to be around anybody. You don't want to talk to people. You don't want to socialize at all. You don't want to go out or anything, right? Again, the negative thoughts start to cloud your mind, and things get foggy and whatnot. But it robs you of your hope. I have a friend, a former friend. We don't hang out too much anymore. But I remember one time he asked me, because I was really depressed and everything. I was living at his house, and he was like, "What's your problems?" And I was like, "I still have no hope. I have no hope. I'm hopeless." And when you feel like that, I mean, man, it can really just. I mean, think about that. If you have no hope that things are going to get better, you're just all doom and gloom all the time. I mean, there's almost no hope for you to break free. That's what depression does. It robs you of that. It robs you of those feelings of thinking that things are going to get better. And so you have to hold on to that. Whatever little bit of hope that you have to hold on to it. Now, for me, and as a Christian, and I know a lot of you, my followers are Christians, hope is the one thing that we need to hold on to, because it's the basis of our faith, right? As Christians, we have the hope of heaven. We have the hope that the sacrifice that Christ made for us is enough to save us, right? And we have that hope of salvation. We have the hope of heaven. And as a life coach, a Christian life coach, it's the start of everything, right? Because hope leads to faith, right? And you have to have the faith that things are going to get right, that what God promises is true. And faith is the belief in the impossible. Faith is the belief that, that God's going to do something, and you're just going to trust him that he's going to do it, whatever that is, right? And, faith in the Bible is defined as the substance or the evidence of things hoped for, and the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. So think about that, right? It's the substance of the things that you're hoping for. It's like it's already happened. It's already real. You already have it in your hands. And it's the evidence of the things that you don't see. That's faith. That's how the Bible describes it. So hope and faith is critical to overcoming depression and anxiety and stress and things like that. So, again, it took me a long time to break free from depression completely. But I know I could have overcome my depression much faster had I known what I know now. Had I known that, that there's this thing that you have to hold on to, and that's hope. Because when you have hope, then you know that everything's going to be okay. It helps you break free of those things, right? And a lot of times depression leads to suicide, and I was very suicidal. And that's kind of like the worst of it, as you get down to that point where you just you feel like, there's no point. What's the point of living? I have no hope. Nothing's going to get better. Nothing's going to get, it's just not worth living anymore. And when you get to that point, it's really bad. You need to reach out. You need to seek help. And that's why, I'm available. Reach out to me. There's the suicide prevention hotline. Reach out to friends, whatever it is. And, we're going to get into some of the things that kind of help you to deal with this. But I wanted to kind of talk into that a little bit, as I've studied about depression, and I've studied other things about how to help people and how to overcome depression. There's really a lot of things that you can do to help you. And, right now with this whole coronavirus pandemic, and, depression, anxiety, and stress is extremely high. Our suicide rates are through the roof. I just saw a video and read an article about it. These doctors are coming out, and they're basically saying, like, the suicide rates, the rate of suicide so far this year has grossly overpassed the deaths from coronavirus. They're dealing with so many more calls of self-injury and things like that, and because people have no hope, they're scared and everything, so it's a real public health, and we don't know the long-term effects that the shutdown and the pandemic is going to have on us, and there's a lot of other things I'm not going to get into that are happening, child abuse, sexual abuse, spousal abuse, all this stuff that's happening, more so than the coronavirus itself. So people are really overwhelmed right now, and it's overwhelming us. Our suicide rates are crazy. Our soldiers, same thing, are dying. I think, what is it, 22? I'm sure it's up even higher than that right now. 22 suicides a day by our service members. So it's a real deal. Something we got to be aware of. People are really struggling, and sometimes, people have feelings like it's normal, that this is okay. I can just live like this and it's fine. And you have to know that you can break free. You can overcome what those things are. So just know that you're not alone. I think that's the most important thing. I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not in this alone. You're not, you don't have to be like this. There's a better way. And so reach out, seek some help. Now let's talk a little bit about anxiety. Anxiety, it's different than depression. It's unique. And while depression is mainly, I would say, like a lack of motivation and lack of energy and a feeling of unworthiness and things like that, I think anxiety is mainly revolves around fear. And I think that you're afraid of what might happen. You're afraid, or you're overwhelmed with just stuff. And stress and anxiety, they're all very similar things, but fear is a real factor. Fear is, it can leave you feeling like the whole world is after you, that that the impossible is going to happen to you, right? Things that are just completely like that normal thinking person wouldn't even think about. The person who is dealing with anxiety, you might feel like, oh man, if I step outside my house, I'm going to get hit by lightning, or a car's going to come around the corner and hit me, or what. I mean, anxiety can just, it drives your mind, your thoughts to a whole other level. And, there's phobias that can get triggered and things like that. But, there's a real issue. And, I think one of the biggest things I've heard people say, that anxiety makes you feel suffocated. Right? I think I wrote that down. Feel suffocating, like you can't breathe. Sometimes like there's like a knot in your throat, in your chest, that you can't breathe, and it's overwhelming, and you feel like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And I know a family member that was dealing with this, and they struggle with it, and it was just you can't explain it. You can't explain it. It's irrational. The thoughts and things that people deal with, and these thoughts that come into your mind, it's like, why are you thinking that that's going to happen to you? It's not, nowhere in a million years is that going to happen to you. But, it's a real thing, and people deal with it, and it comes on you, and you can't control it. And it kind of takes over. And I think that's the big thing, is no control. You don't feel like you're in control of what's going to happen to you. And it's kind of like, you can't really think clearly, like you're like in a fog sometimes. And it's sometimes, I think even like probably right now, with the coronavirus, I think that the reason why the anxiety is so high too is because people are afraid. People are afraid that they're going to get the virus, and they're afraid that they're going to die from the virus. And one little sneeze or a cough or something, and it's like, oh my God, I got the virus. And I'm not trying to diminish that. I'm not trying to make fun of anyone like that. But those feelings happen, and it starts to come up, and you don't feel like you're in control, and you can't breathe, and that's basically what happens. So it can lead to a lot of feelings of not having control of your own self. Now, again, to me as a man of faith, I don't deal with anxiety really. To me, it comes down to, for me personally, it's a lack of faith, or I think more accurately, it's faith and fear, right? I think that's where anxiety, for me, that's what it means to me. And you believe more that the improbable is going to happen than the God who's going to protect you. He has the ability to protect you, right? You believe more that in those things that might never happen to you are going to happen to you, versus trusting that God's going to take care of you. And but I know that for most people, anxiety is a lot worse, and it's a real thing, and people can't cope with things easily. So I'm not trying to diminish your feelings in any way. Don't take it like that. I know it's real. I know that there are physiological things that happen, and things that actually occur because your mental health is directly related to your physical health. And so something that we need to deal with. We need to deal with that mental health, because it starts to kind of wear you down, break down your body. And if you don't take care of it and you don't deal with it, then things could get a lot worse, right? And we're going to get into that when we talk about like stress and stuff. But I think that's where your physical health starts to take over, or starts to break down. And then again, it's all physiological in your mind, and then easily from anxiety can lead to depression and to the stress, or from stress to anxiety to depression, or depression to stress to anxiety, or whatever it is, a combination of all three. And next thing you know, you're dealing with it. So it's really important that you start to really think through those things, because what's a natural progression, right? Is you start feeling that you're hopeless, and it leads to thoughts of suicide, and then it can lead to even thoughts of hurting others, right? And anger, and you don't know how to cope with it, and so you lash out, and sometimes you lash out towards your kids, and I think I've seen a lot of like young mothers and stuff like that, trying to take their own life or taking the lives of them and their children, even fathers too, obviously, and killing, a lot of murder suicides and stuff like that. So these are real things that people are dealing with, and I just want you to know again that there's hope. Don't give up. And so as we I'm not going to get too much deeper into anxiety. I only say that just following some of these steps will help you and help you deal with some of those things. Now let's talk about stress. Stress is also a big issue right now. Stress, I think one of the biggest things with stress is high blood pressure. I was really stressed out with work last year. I went to go give blood, and I went to go get blood, and they're taking my blood pressure, and then it was like, I don't know, 180 something over 111, and the nurse in the blood mobile was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine." Why? She's like, "Your blood pressure is extremely high. You could go into cardiac arrest right now. You need to go to the hospital." I'm like, "Oh my God, I'm not. What are you talking about? I'm perfectly fine." And so obviously I had to get that checked out. And yeah, sure enough, I was, it came down to I was pretty stressed out with work and other things in my life. But you don't even feel it. But yeah, high blood pressure, hypertension, can lead to, a lack of focus and all these things. Stress really does lead to a lot of medical problems. It does, heart problems, obesity, right? Stress eating, right? Headaches, muscle aches. There's all kinds of things, you even start to experience sometimes, gastrointestinal things, right? You bile and heartburn and all these things, acid reflux, all this stuff. Stress can be a real factor of that, even kidney stones or, what's the ulcers and things like that, right? So it just starts to affect your health. And you know what? It can also affect your immune system, right? And even depression and anxiety can also help with that too. But it affects your immune system. And what's that going to do? That's going to make you weaker. It's going to make your immune system weaker, right? And you're more susceptible to catching the virus, the coronavirus, right? Or other viruses and getting sick. So, dealing with your stress is very important because it's going to affect your health eventually, right? I mean, not right away, but eventually your body's going to start to break down if you're constantly in a high stress, your body's in high stress environment. So, I think they call it sympathetic, your sympathetic nervous system, right? Where it gets affected by your stress. So, all these things can lead to real issues, that have a lasting effect. And one of the things that you need to do when you want to deal with stress is you need to identify what are the main causes of the stress. What are the things that are really affecting you the most, right? I didn't write it down, but you have to get to the source of it. Maybe it's work. Maybe it's your family. Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's just even going sitting in traffic. Like me, I hate traffic. Oh my God, I live in Southern California. So if you've ever been to Southern California, around LA and whatnot, oh my God, the traffic is ridiculous. So it affects me. I thank God I don't have a big commute. Obviously, we're all working from home right now, but even when I did work, I even though I have to pay more in rent to be close to work, just so I don't have to deal with traffic. For those of you who live in this area, dealing with the 5, dealing with the 91, 55, all 57, all these freeways at 22, 405, it's just ridiculous. And I try to avoid traffic like the plague because I get so stressed out. And I don't like, so I avoid it, right? I don't try to do that, but that's a root cause of stress for me. So I try to stay away. But whatever that is, you have to sometimes just figure out what those roots of the cause of the stress are, and you have to start changing things around and dealing with it, right? How can you put yourself in a better environment? That's one of the things we're going to talk about. So, just want you guys to be aware that you want to try to deal with some of those things. That's one of the most important things, is how to eliminate the things that are causing you to be stressed out, to have anxiety, to be depressed, right? Eliminate those things from your life. So what are some actual practical things that you can do to deal with depression, stress, and anxiety, right? I think one of the first things I'll say is that the hardest step is always the first one. So whatever one you feel that you need to implement or take care of first, it's going to be hard. And change is hard, and we don't like it. It makes us feel uncomfortable. So you may have some apprehension about it just to get started, but then let's say you get started and you don't see effects right away. I would just encourage you to keep going, because it's not easy. You didn't get to the place of where you're at right now, with your stress, depression, and anxiety. You didn't get there overnight. It was a process. And so getting out of it and breaking free is also going to be a process. So stick with it. Just follow through. Be consistent with it. Create good, healthy habits. And eventually you'll start to see a change. So I encourage you to keep going through that. And just be calm. Have the hope that things are going to get better. Hold on to that hope. Hold on to the hope that things will get better. And eventually they will. So, number one, strengthening your mind. This has helped me more than anything else. It started with me with this, and when I found certain things, I started practicing certain things, my entire life changed. And I'm not exaggerating. It just set me on the right course, and I've continued to do these things, and it has completely changed and radicalized my life. So, spiritual guidance, obviously, I'm a Christian. I'm gonna be teaching this stuff, seeking the Lord, reading the Word and whatnot, or going and talking to someone like a pastor and whatnot, and getting help, spiritual help. Okay, we're spirit beings. You definitely need some spiritual guidance, But that led into like meditation and prayer, reading the Word and whatnot. But other just general relaxation techniques, right? Mindfulness meditation. I'm a firm believer in mindfulness meditation. Just kind of getting into the moment of right now, breathing, learning breathing techniques. I still practice them virtually every single day, and it has completely changed my life, right? And you can also get into like yoga and things like that. And, journaling, writing down your things that you're going through and processing these thoughts and stuff that are in your head, it really helps because you are able to express yourself. So if you're not writing stuff down and really expressing the things that make you angry or things that make you sad or whatever it is, like you're not really dealing with it, right? You're kind of shoving them down and trying to, just brush over them or trying to hide from them, really. So I would highly encourage you guys to do that. Seek spiritual guidance, get into meditation, pray, seek the Lord, cry out for help to God, the one who made you, the one who loves you. For me, my prayer life and seeking God was the foundation of my success. And so if you're out there, if you don't have a healthy prayer life and you're not meditating and you're not taking time first thing in the morning to really clear your mind and breathe and think through and process the stuff that's going on, I highly encourage you to do so. I think you'll see some big improvements. Learning breathing techniques is very important. Now that I just do them so often, I find myself, I've been dealing with a situation, I'm not perfect, dealing with stuff and there's external factors that are really affecting me and they make me angry. I literally just start to breathe, let it out. I slow myself down, slow down my heart rate. I process it, and it's really helped me to deal with stuff and not overreact to things. So I highly encourage you to do so. But preparing my mind for the day and what's to come just changes everything. So I highly encourage you to do that. Now, as you start to do this, you'll start to realize, especially if you get into like yoga and stretching and things like that, learning these relaxation techniques, strengthen your mind, you'll start to see that it's going to lead you to other things, exercise and stuff like that, which we're going to get into a little bit about that. But take control of your environment. I think wherever possible, right, you should be taking control of your environment, and taking control of your environment can make a huge difference in dealing with depression, anxiety, and stress. If the news and everything that's going on in the world is really making you anxious and you're feeling stressed out about it, with the pandemic things and all the rioting and all the stuff that's going on out there, you know what? Turn off the television. Don't watch it. Don't watch the news. I know you want to, and it's like the first thing you do, you pop open your feed and all the stories of all this craziness going on. People are fighting with each other, your friends, your family, everyone's criticizing each other and I'm pro Trump or I'm pro BLM or whatever it is, like if all that stuff is bringing you anxiety, just unplug. I cannot tell you how probably beneficial that's going to be. Again, for me, like avoiding traffic or just, I wrote down avoid traffic, but what I was trying to say is avoid high stressful things that bring you stress. If there's that one toxic person in your life, don't go around that person. Even if they're your family, even if they're your spouse, or maybe not your spouse, but, a loved one of some type, of some relation, some friend, like, man, just avoid them. At least for a time till you get yourself right and you're able to strengthen your mind up. But change your scenery around, right? Avoid certain people, negative people, and things like that. So it's very, very important. I would highly encourage you to do that. Maybe you need to just get out, right? Maybe you need to get out of your apartment. Everyone's stuck inside. We're frustrated. We're at home. We can't leave. We can't go do the things we want to do. But man, maybe just go outside, take a walk, drive to a park and just sit there on the bench and be outside in nature. Go to the beach and or a lake or something. Just get out, be outdoors, be surrounded by nature and peaceful surroundings. Or maybe you live in the country. Maybe you need to go to the city. I don't know. But whatever it is, maybe you need to change your environment around to kind of help you reduce those stress things, right? Things that make you unhappy. Try to change it up. I would say, number 3, reach out and stay connected is very important. Be around people who love you. Be around people who are a positive influence in your life, people who encourage you. Avoid, negativity and people who are negative. There's just some people, even, that there are people you actually care about, but if they're just not healthy for you, you need to take care of yourself first. And before you can even help them break out of whatever they're dealing with, you got to take care of yourself first, right? I think about on an airplane, right? One of the things they teach you, right? You got to put the mask on yourself first before you try to help someone else. Why? Because if you don't, then you could pass out and you're not going to be any good to anybody, right? You're not going to be useful. So definitely want to do that. But find a good support system, and maybe that's seeking, again, out, like maybe a pastor or a small group or, support groups, for depression and anxiety and things like that, or whatever it is that you're dealing with. So highly encourage you to do that, but talk to people. And sometimes, if you're dealing with depression, you're isolated, you don't want to talk to anyone, but force yourself to do it. Force yourself to do it because that's going to help you start to process things. You're going to talk and find someone that you can talk to about how you're feeling. Don't hold it in. Don't pretend like everything's all right when they ask you, how you doing? Oh, everything's right. No. You know what? I'm really struggling right now. I'm really struggling. I'm really depressed. I'm lonely. I'm anxious. I feel like something bad's going to happen to me. Talk about it. They'll help you process it. And you got to be careful who you talk to. Not everyone is emotionally intelligent enough to deal with it or mature enough to deal with it. So, just be careful and think through it. But definitely, maybe I think one of the biggest things too, a surefire way to help, kind of as part of being connected and whatnot is maybe serve, maybe give back, maybe go help someone, maybe go serve at the food kitchen or whatever it is. Get involved in some sort of ministry of some type, because there's no greater thing, no greater sense of fulfillment than helping others and serving others. So whatever that is, whatever you need to do, get out there, help people, be around people, but make sure you avoid relationships that bring you stress, right? Maybe it's a flame of some type that they don't really value you, they don't love you really the way they should. Maybe it's time to let go of those things. Maybe it's time to move on. I know that's tough to say right now because we're already isolated enough as it is with the pandemic, but if it's not really bringing you the joy and the love that you need, maybe it's time to move on. So now, do the things that make you happy and bring you joy. Okay? And I started running out of space, so I'm going to erase some of this stuff right now. But, moving around. Go outside. Get some exercise. Get some physical activity. And maybe, feeling when you're doing exercise, you may not feel like that it's not the greatest feeling in the world. Obviously, you're dealing with it. You're working out. But at first, it's going to be tough. But after a while, it just becomes a great stress reliever. And afterwards, you feel so good about yourself, right? Hey, I did exercises. I'm outside. I'm doing something. It helps you out. Go on a brisk walk. Start to energize your body. So do the things that make you happy. Make sure you make your health a priority, right? Getting out, going for a bike ride, taking a stroll on the beach, again, or going to a park or something, right? Maybe you need to just take on like a new hobby or something, right? Do something you always love to do, like painting or art, or maybe just getting your creative juices flowing and doing things. Maybe you love music, or maybe you got to go see like an art show or a dance or a concert. Obviously, right now it's tough, but whatever that is, right? Maybe it's just writing in your journal, taking a trip to a museum, right? Those kinds of things. So, I think purposeful activity is a great way to distract your mind. Is to distract your mind from those things that are bringing you down, right? Things that are clouding your mind. And learning how to avoid, those things that are affecting you. I think that's a big thing, right? You got to refocus your energy to things that are bringing you joy, right? And slowly it's going to start to take its effect and start to help you break free from depression and stress and anxiety, right? So remember, a lot of it, most of it, always starts in your mind. It's all in your mind, right? And sometimes it, again, affects your body and you get into its health issues, but it starts in the mind most of the time. So practice some good habits, strengthen yourself. I'm going to write down the fifth one. And I took notes, right? So sorry about that if you were taking notes. Hopefully you took that. Number five is, and this, some of you are not going to like this, but it's eat healthy. Okay, this is very important, guys. Eating healthy, right? You are what you eat, right? You are what you eat, and there's so much to this. Eating can be a huge factor in your mental health, and stress eating can lead to a lot of other health problems, right? From extreme weight gain, right? Maybe sometimes your comfort food, right? It's so bad for us. The things that we love to eat, it's sugary, the carbs, and a lot of those things just don't help our bodies work optimally. And, they can make our depression, anxiety, and stress worse because we're not healthy. So eating healthy is very important, right? And plus, when we eat junk food, especially one that we know it's not good for us, we may feel guilty. And we may feel, that it's just the things that we're doing is not good. And that could lead us to a darker place, right? That guilt will always do that. So eating healthy makes your body, work for you and brings clarity, right? If you're taking vitamins and you're eating healthy, clean food, unprocessed food, right? Let's say you're eating fresh fruits and vegetables, things that don't have a lot of sugars and stuff like that, right? That's going to help your mind work better. Your body's going to be working better, right? And hopefully you're taking some sort of multivitamin or something like that too. Vitamin B, B12, those are all things that are going to help you and give you energy and whatnot. So you want to avoid certain things. You want to avoid, snacks, food like, baked goods, fried foods, usually anything that has a lot of sugar in it. Sometimes it's tough because those are our comfort food. Those are the things that, oh man, I'm eating this sugar and it feels great. But what comes after you eat a bunch of sugar? The sugar crash, right? And so it could just lead to feeling even more depressed and more stressed or whatever it is. So be mindful of that. Take vitamins, take supplements. Make sure you get plenty of sleep. Sleep, and sometimes you're getting depressed. All you want to do is sleep during the day. But if you get a good night's sleep, go to bed early enough, wake up early enough, that you get get at least 8 hours of sleep. But that'll help you. Staying in bed all day, it's just going to make you feel lethargic, and you're already going to be feeling depressed enough as it is. So get up, get out, do something, right? But make sure you get enough sleep at night, if at all possible. Now, these are just some of the minor steps that you can take. Again, it was, strengthening your mind, taking control of, your environment. There was, can't see here, reach out, stay connected, do the things that make you happy and bring you joy, and eat healthy. Be healthy all around. So these are just some minor steps. Don't be afraid to reach out to someone, talk to someone, to let them know how you're feeling. You're not alone in this, as I said. There's hope, right? Be open. Being open and honest can help you feel free, right? And keeping things inside only is going to lead to more depression and anxiety, right? If you're really suffering with mental anguish and thoughts of suicide, again, contact the suicide hotline. Reach out to someone. talk to someone, right? Just email me. I'll talk to you, right? Maybe you need to contact your pastor or your youth leader, or anyone who's really willing to listen, right? So, as someone who's battled depression and suicide before, and especially depression for many years, I know firsthand what it feels like. I do. And one of the most things that I can tell you is that God loves you. God loves you. And He sent His Son, Jesus, to die for you. To die for your sins. And so, there's hope. There's hope in the name of Jesus. And if you're not a believer, I strongly encourage you to find out what the gospel is all about. Who God is, who Jesus is, and what He did. And the story of redemption and salvation. I strongly encourage you to do that. That is the key. He loves you so much, and He gave His life for you, so you can have a full and abundant life, a thriving life. That's what our organization is all about. That's what being enlightened is all about. We thrive in the vibe of life, right? We want to live thriving, fulfilled lives for Him, for His sake. So allow Him to do the work in you, and seek Him, and you'll find Him. Right? You'll be found by Him. And so, He's the giver of life, and that's all that we need. Just more love and more life. So, that's it. Hopefully some of these tips will help you out. Reach out to me, like this video. Share it with someone that might need some help. And smash on that bell so you get notification when we put out new content. And subscribe to my channel. We're going to be having more videos, more stuff coming through, so I appreciate you. Remember, check out my Patreon page, patreon.com/angelabundance, and maybe you want to support us and the content that we're going to be putting out. We'd appreciate your support. So those of you that want to partner with us and want to be able to have a bigger impact than what you're having right now, check us out. We love you. We want to partner with you. We want to reach out to you and talk to you, get to know you, who you are. So email me at theenlightenedcoach@gmail.com. That's theenlightenedcoach@gmail.com. With that, God bless you, everyone. Just take it easy out there. Don't worry. Things are going to get better. This pandemic's going to pass. We know who God is and the God that we serve. And He can help us break through. So hold on to that hope and deal with the stress and depression and anxiety that you're dealing with. All right, everyone. God bless you. See y'all later. Peace out.